I'm Gran. This is BINBUSTER, where I buy, watch, review budget bin movies for you. I got one quick question I gotta ask you guys. Who here loves pizza? Raise your hand. My hand's raised. Who here likes cheese? Who here likes pepperoni? Sausage, peppers, pineapple. But most importantly, who loves, on their pizza, some Canadian bacon? That's right. Today I'm reviewing John Candy and Canadian bacon. There. As always, I'm going to give you a brief synopsis and my overall thoughts and ratings on this John Candy movie. The U.S. economy is in a rut, and so is the president's approval rating. Sounds kind of familiar, right? What we need is a good war, but the Russians are not interested. Hey, how about that big polite country up north? Niagara Falls Sheriff Bud B. Boomer takes this all a bit too seriously, though. And that's Boomer right there. So with that synopsis, you kind of figuring out what this movie is about and the hilarity that might ensue. The movie starts off with a layoff of the Hacker Dynamics plant. And we see the guy trying to kill himself. He tapes himself up in a car. He tapes himself up with duct tape. Literally, his hands, his feet, his entire body right around his mouth. He's driving his car to try and go off the Niagara Falls Bridge in New York. However, parts of the car fall out. It stops him right there. He's not able to do that. The tape's still dangling off him, and so as he jumps over, the tape sticks on the ledge, and it saves him. So Candy's character, Bud comes into the scene. He's a sheriff, and he stops a guy from jumping. You get $25 extra if you stop someone from doing it, or you get $50 for a dead body. Him and his girlfriend, Rhea Perlman, right there, who plays Honey. Yeah, the very talented Rhea Perlman plays Honey. They're raking up $450 this week just for the dead bodies that jump over the Niagara Falls Bridge in New York. Yeah! Woohoo! What's happening at the hacker plant is that they're auctioning off missiles and guns from the plant due to the Cold War being done and the plant shutting down. And these, like you see guys with missiles on the back of a pickup truck just driving off. Their tanks are being auctioned off, stuff like that. The president shows up here, played by Hawkeye. No, not Jeremy Renner. Alan Alda, Hawkeye Pierce from MASH, for all you people out there who did not know, he was originally TV's first Hawkeye. Whose approval rating is down because it's peacetime. Makes kind of sense, but kind of doesn't. You would think that the approval rating would be higher, because it is peacetime. You're doing a good job. This layoff of the workers of the factory. After the Russians denied them to go back to war. Aliens and going through old photos of old political leaders, like what's that one guy's name? They had Bin Laden on there. They had Stalin. They had a few others in there. They decided to go to war with the country, and that country, the war they cooked up is with Canada, or as Terrence and Phillip used to say in the South Park the movie, "Blame Canada. Blame Canada. All your troubles in the world. Blame Canada." The Academy Award nominated song, anyways, for that. Bud and his friend go to a hockey game, and a fight breaks out due to Bud saying that Canadian beer sucks. I don't blame them. I've had Canadian beer. I'm not a huge fan. Those are fighting words. Come on, let's fight. But upon which having the news covering the story gives the United States the ammo they need to go to war. Besides the metric system, the tallest freestanding building, Celsius, and Neil Young. Those are the other reasons they want to go to war. Yeah. Neil Young. Who would have thought that Neil Young was a reason to go to war? I didn't. Or the metric system. I mean, seriously. They started saying how bad Canadians are, how they could just come over here undetected and unnoticed. They mentioned Michael J. Fox, Alex Trebek, Monty Hall, Mike Myers. They said, the borders are not protected. They can just come over here. Hey, look, They're living amongst you. Here they are. The propaganda that they supply is hilarious, and it works. It's crazy. It's like maple syrup. Like they show maple syrup pouring down a map. It's like, okay, Canada, maple syrup kind of goes hand in hand. Kind of. And then they make fun of the flag all the time because they said, what is that, a weed? Is that a weed symbol? Like the maple leaf? Yeah. Niagara Falls, New York. It's the first line of defense because right there is Niagara Falls, Canada. So they're the first defense. If I was Canada, I wouldn't go through Niagara Falls, honestly. As they start confiscating ice skates to littering across, they go across the border and start littering. They just throw it everywhere. 2 million show up. So Bud and his buddies get scared. They leave Honey there. They leave her there. They go back home. Then they embark on getting Honey back, and it's hilarious because they go to the capital, so they think it's Toronto. They go to Toronto, which they think is the capital. No, it's not. It's not the capital of Canada. And then they deface the truck and says how Canada sucks. They're pulled over by Dan Aykroyd, who plays a cop, and he's like, just to let you guys know, I'm not going to give you a ticket, but you guys need to deface this in French, too. So they sit there with a spray can and spray painted in French. Why? Because they didn't want to make their French Canadians feel left out. That's nice of Canada. See, they're not so terrible of people after all. So meanwhile, Hacker is a war profiteer. We know this. Is behind the Canadian assault and begins a launch of all the missiles from his Hailstorm project. He had this Hailstorm project that the president didn't have to give funding to, so he sold it to Canada, and they think it's just a weather satellite for a weather system. Little do they know, this is what Hacker plans on doing with it. These missiles are pointed in Russia, an ally of the United States. He's wanting to regain the money he lost from the president canceling his Hailstorm project. Then we find out that it's installed on the top of the Canadian National Tower. Yeah, the biggest tower in all of Canada, or at this time of this movie, in the known world at the time. This is where our climax begins, folks. Because his Honey is up there on top of this National Tower, as Hacker wants $1 trillion for the Hailstorm 2 to combat the Hailstorm 1. Yeah, this is how war profiteering works, kids. You're in the wrong business if you don't think so. He is trying to get the president to bite. Hacker dies, and the codes are destroyed, being shoved in the mouth by the guy who arrested him, who pushed him, who was a national security advisor, which is Kevin Pollak right here. That's Kevin Pollak. He's a national security advisor. Yeah. He pushes Hacker down, and Hacker dies, and the codes get to stop Hailstorm. Yeah, gets shoved in his mouth. Who would have thought that? But anyways, who is then arrested? Honey is shot. Honey shoots at the door to try and get to the top of the tower. The president figures it out that it was Hacker and not the Canadians who launched the missiles. Honey sees the attacker. It sees the Hacker name on the Hailstorm and shoots it, destroying it and stopping the launch and the missiles with 8 seconds left to go. Yeah, you're talking. These things almost went off. Honey and Bud head home via boat across the Niagara. And we even see Bud almost fall off the falls. Whoa! Almost fall off the falls. Alright. Guys, a little bit about this movie. About my thoughts about John Candy in this film. This is kind of an underrated John Candy film. It's up there with, in my impression, Delirious and Who is Harry Crumb. Those are underrated John Candy films. They're not as widely loved or widely watched as Cool Runnings, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, Uncle Buck. I mean, this is even up there with Wagons East. Like some of his later films were like, you could tell that he loved the project. That's why he worked on it. For me, this falls, like I said, along the lines of Delirious and Who is Harry Crumb. Other underrated movies from this comedy legend. This late comedy legend, I should say. What do I give this movie? I'm going to watch this again. It's definitely kind of funny how they poke fun at Canada and how stupid some of the people are in this movie. I'll give it a 3 stars. It's a decent watch. I recommend it if you haven't found it. It's at your local Dollar Trees now. So find it. Try and find it at your local Dollar Tree. For $1, it's a decent movie for $1. And as always, remember, no matter what you like on your pizza, whether it's that icky pineapple or it's Canadian bacon, always, in the words of Terrence and Phillip and South Park, blame Canada and make it a movie night and dive right in.